This week, we're still talking about genre tags, WRATHCON, and we have PoufyPoufson on the show. Since our last episode, Trump and Biden held their first presidential debate. The following day, Google's most popular search was, what happened to the black hole we were supposed to get sucked into?
I'm Kelsey.
I'm Cassie.
And I'm Noli, the K is silent, and this is SCP Weekly.
What have we been up to over the last 2 weeks?
Nolan, what have you been up to in the last while?
Oh, just so much, you know? The job did not work out. Yeah, I was more or less fired because I was not getting as many leads as everyone else.
Well, you were still new, too. I mean...
Yeah, they kind of used that as the excuse of like, oh, your 2-week probationary period is over, so yeah, the job's not for you, so we're gonna let you go. They didn't even really let me finish the actual week, so...
With something like that, they're gonna go through 17,000 people a month and just keep the one random, every once in a blue moon person that absolutely hits it out of the stadium their first week on. And it's just luck. It's luck and it's experience, and it's so much of sales revolves around luck.
Sales is a special breed.
It is.
Sales is a special kind of shithole.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm good at it. However, if I don't get the customer with a pocket full of money that they are able to spend, I'm not going to get anything sold. I can talk you into something cheaper, but to make that big hit, not only do I have to know what I'm doing, but I have to be really fucking lucky that day.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we've gone through another job. What else?
I got a new one.
Hey! Tell us about your newest job.
Yeah, I already had the feeling that they were gonna let me go, so I prepared in advance.
Your fucking taxes next year,
God.
you are gonna need to hire somebody.
Haha, no, because I do not have the money for that.
Well, I mean, something like H&R Block, they just take some money out of your tax return.
But yeah, that's what I already use.
Yeah.
As long as everything you're doing is W-2 and you're filling out the tax forms when you get hired, yeah, it's just this amount and this. It's just going to take forever with all the W-2s.
Like, even I could help you.
Yeah.
And you don't have to spend anything.
New job. This one is as a registered behavioral technician. Essentially, I am helping out autistic adolescents.
Hey, one of our own. Some of our own fucking wheelhouse. Tell me something you know everything about already.
Yeah. I technically haven't started yet, though. They need you to start a orientation training thing that goes on for a week, and it doesn't start until next Monday.
So whenever you show up to your first day on the job, Nolan, if you hear a whole bunch of people chanting 13, 13, 13 on the other side of the fence, don't look through the hole in the fence.
Why?
Have you never heard that joke?
No.
Oh, okay. This guy shows up to his first day at work, and on the other side of the fence, he hears a bunch of people saying 13, 13, 13, 13, and he's like, what is going on the other side of this fence? So he finds a hole in the fence, and he looks through the hole, and somebody pokes him in the eye through the fence, and then they say 14, 14, 14.
I mean, I have several reasons to not look through any hole ever, and some of them are scary and some of them are gross. And also, that just sounds really fucking creepy. Like, I don't recognize the bodies in the water type of creepy. Okay, so...
But there's a certification that too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they... essentially, I would need to, in my free time, undergo a 40-hour, video training that they would basically send me. And once I complete that... What?
On your own time, but are they paying you?
No, I wouldn't be paid for it. This is on my own time.
Does that mean you keep the certification even if you don't work there? Or is it just for them?
The certification would be for, as a behavioral technician, because they say that, if you already have a certification from somewhere else, that's totally fine. You don't need to take it. So I have been told that once I do complete the 40-hour, then I take, an in-person test to basically, see that I pretty much understand everything that I, watched during the whole training course. And then I get certified, and then I get a extra $1.50 in my pay.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, I also gave plasma.
I know. Also, you gave your plasmas. I've done that, and I'm kind of disappointed. I'm kind of disappointed you only got $80 because where I was going in Missouri, I got $135 every time I went. So I'm really disappointed. You went to CSL or somewhere else?
No, BioLife.
I've never done that. How do you feel after it's done?
Fine.
Yeah,
it's like giving blood.
I felt fine. Yeah,
it's giving blood, but they give you your blood back. So.
Yeah, they took out about 850. I don't know if it was milligrams. If that's how it was.
Milliliters, maybe.
Milliliters, yeah.
Something.
Of blood. They basically siphon the plasma from it, and then they basically put blood back into you. They took out about 850, and then they gave me back about 500.
Huh.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. They take your bloods, they continuously spin and re-inject. They spin the plasma out, you get the blood back. So you give a lot of blood, you sometimes feel a little dizzy. You should, take care of yourself. But you're getting your blood back, but it's still a thing. I have a it bothers me type of scar. I did that enough
From giving
times.
so much.
Yeah, enough times over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I have a not so good, but now it's like a fucking bullseye for doctors everywhere.
Yup, I've got the same thing.
I've got the nice veins. They love me.
Yeah, the way for it happened with me was it only lasted about 40-45 minutes for the whole thing. They first have to run a few tests, maybe do a physical if it's your first time. Check for take a quick little blood sample for a prick from your finger. If you do, for anyone watching and you are considering donating plasma for extra money, first ask for them to take your heart rate before you do the pricking, because for me, the little pinch, the little pain sensation, it kind of made my heart rate a little go up a bit, which kind of made me go oh, it's a little bit out of range. So I had to sit and wait for 5-10 minutes in order to try to calm my heart rate down, go back and try to get it back into the good range that they were needing. Make sure that for anyone watching, if you are going to donate plasma, make sure that your arm doesn't get bruised from it, because then if it does, you can always try the other arm, but they usually make you wait until the bruises clear up and go away, because or else it'll just do permanent damage to your skin and your arm and all of that, and nobody really wants that.
My left arm, I give blood samples to doctors because I'm right-handed, but it would not work out on donating plasma. But from experience, if it feels uncomfortable, don't feel yourself uncomfortable with saying something. Don't go, oh, maybe, I don't want to bother them. Bother them. Bother them and tell them something feels wrong. It's really uncomfortable. It feels tight. It feels really painful. It aches. Make sure you speak up, because you could be there longer. You can cause damage to yourself. Yes, these people know what they're doing, but they are also trained rather quickly.
That's a certification you should get, Nolan.
Yes.
You would make a hell of a phlebotomist.
No matter what, speak up. If it doesn't feel comfortable, say something. They'll adjust it, because if it's in wrong, that can cause the bruising. That can hurt you. But yeah, Nolan, you could do that. You get paid good money for that shit. You should ask them next time you're there, hey, how much do you get paid an hour? Because the techs in Missouri, minimum wage is $7. No, it was $7. I forget. I think it's like $14 now, but they make like $19, $20 an hour just like their first day starting to train. You should ask them how much money they make.
Look into that certification, because it's not hard to get. No. It's like a state test that you got to go. I mean, that's a legit test that you got to take, but it's pretty good money. Mm-hmm. And you're air conditioned all day, dude. What about you, Cassie?
Okay, so I had already been moved in last time we did this. I think I was just newly moved in, like within a couple of days. If I could get my fucking mouse to work, I was going to look at my calendar. Our last show was the 23rd. Yeah, I had been here about a week or so. Nothing really. I'm still struggling with this fucking store manager. So, today's the 7th. On the 25th, I went into the store, because now I'm in New York, where the store lives. Playing fucking telephone with the store manager has been a pain in my ass. She's highly unresponsive. But I haven't gotten the feeling that it means, that I'm a no-go and she just can't tell me or some shit. No, it's just she's just highly unresponsive. I know there's a lot of shit going on. They got a new district manager. But come the fuck on, lady. A couple of turns ago, I had messaged her, and a week later, oh, I hadn't seen these. I'm like, you don't look at your phone ever in a week? I don't think so. I can't say with any confidence any step of any process having to do with work or where I'm going to live. All I can do is let the process proceed and sit on the sidelines, and I don't like to use the word, I don't like to say I'm hopeful, so I don't work that way. I will never say I have something until the first day I clock in at this new job, then I'll say, I've got this job. The day I move my shit into that apartment or pay the landlord the money, I have this apartment. But it's really, my anxiety has been absolutely sky high. I've hung out with some friends. I saw a person yesterday. There was a pagan witchy fair in the middle of Manhattan, down in St. Mark's, that I went to yesterday. A whole street blocked off full of vendors. It was really nice. I saw a person I haven't seen since I was maybe 17. Maybe 17. So that was cool. I got a couple of people I spoke to about some things that I have to do, and I got to hang out with some good old friends. And we had a good time last night. So I've been trying to not sit around. I've been trying to not think about anything serious. This is I'm going to think about something serious for today, and then that's it. Tomorrow I got adult things to do, but I'm done today being serious. So everything is on. I have a tornado going on. I'm trying to pretend I don't see the tornado coming closer and closer to me as I film it with my phone from the doorway. Oh, look, I think I'm in the path of the tornado. Look at it, it's getting closer. I do not make a good storm chaser anymore. I'm on medication for that shit.
Well, by our next episode, I think you'll have that job.
The talk had always been for mid-July, that I would have some time before starting of being established in New York. I have a friend coming to visit next week for a couple of days from Tennessee, so he doesn't know what he's getting his fucking self into, and I'm gonna drag him up to the Empire State Building. We're doing all the dumb tourist shit I've never done in my life. I have been up there once, and I am from this country. Yes. That's
or
my
else
life
we'll hear
story.
about it again.
Right? Next time on Nolan and Cassie. Same shit, different day. New job. What the heck? Those are our two states of existing. Kelsey, please make us feel better. What are you up to?
I got a drone.
What?
Yeah.
Yes! For filming?
Yeah, I've been playing with a buddy of mine had one. He let me play with it for about a week. And I love it. It's very cool. So I was like, I'm just going to get this exact same one. I got some wide angle lenses for it. So the lenses came in yesterday. I haven't had a chance to play with them, but I've been nerd camera stuff. I've got the.
Do you have it near you? Yeah, I was going to say, do you have it near you? Can you show it to us?
Yeah, I can go and get it.
I want to see it. I want to see it.
It's just on the shelf over here. I'll be right back.
I want to see Kelsey's new toy. Nolan, are you gonna wow with me?
Yeah, probably not.
Well, he's so excited about it.
Well, I know.
We could do it for him.
Okay, fine.
Just do it for him. Wow, that's so cool. Dude, look, you're gonna be doing this kind of shit at work when you're working with all these adorable autistic people showing you their favorite things you don't care about. You're gonna have to. Oh my gosh, hi.
I can hear you now.
All right, yeah.
So this is the little guy. How did that happen? Go back there. Okay. So it's just a tiny little guy.
Oh, look at that thing. Just a little guy. Just a little guy.
Folds out.
Oh, cool. Oh, that's neat that it fucking
like
packs into a tiny little...
Yeah, little helicopter guy, little quadcopter. And then the camera's up here.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
oh, you took the lens protector cap?
Yeah,
Is that what
it's got a little gimbal. It has image stabilization and everything. I've figured out that I can launch it from the roof of my truck. I've already done work with it. A guy that I know is about to run a Kickstarter for a business startup.
Yeah. And
he had me do some aerial shots for his slide deck. So one of those was the mall here locally, and it's hot. It's really hot. It's hot everywhere.
Yeah, it's been in the 90s here this week,
I'm not even going to get out of my truck. I unfolded it. I stuck it on the top of my truck, and I just got the little remote control out, and so I was just flying it from there, getting all the shots that I needed. So
does the camera... Can you point to the camera in different directions, or does it focus on something and the camera moves by itself to stay focused?
This thing is so cool. Like it does things that I haven't even figured out how to do yet.
Neat.
But the things that I have figured out how to do, like I needed to do aerial shots over these two different towns, and I was like, what am I going to do? I'm looking for, and I was like, the water tower. It looks nice, and it's got the name of the town on it. And so
that's a classic shot.
It has a setting where you can pick a point of interest, is what it's called, and so you just draw a box around whatever you want on the screen, and I'd draw a box around the water tower. And it picks the water tower as a point of interest, and then it will fly around it. I don't have to do anything. I push a button, say point of interest, fast or slow, go, and it automatically flies around it and keeps its focus on it. It will follow you, so I could do that with a person. It knows whether it's in front of you or behind you or to the right or to the left of you. So I can say, follow this person to the left, and then while it's following, I can still control it. It has
that's how they get you.
It has object object avoidance, so it has sensors all over it. It
doesn't
omnidirectional
crash
sensors.
into a tree on its own.
And so if I say follow me and I jump on a bike and I'm riding a bike down the street, it'll go around traffic. It'll go. I was getting some water shots and I tried to fly it under a bridge. It was a low bridge, like a walking bridge, a path over a park in a park. And I tried to fly it. It would have made it, but I had the avoidance system turned on, and it automatically was just like, "Woo, nope, I'm not flying under that bridge." It just went right over it. So
that's pretty fucking cool.
It's a very fun, very cool little thing. It's very small and very light.
Neat.
The only thing that I don't like about it is because it's so light, the batteries are small, so the batteries only last about 30 minutes. You only get about 30 minutes of flight time, but
can you have other batteries charged and ready to install and switch it? Yeah.
Came into the 3-pack. So, but I've got to bring it home, change the battery, and then send it back out. But I've used it for real estate shots. I've used it for that slide deck.
Yeah. So you're not filming with it up in the air for an hour, but it's good for those shots and some quick whatevers. Like that's not so bad.
I've already got shots planned. So far, I have 7 of. I want 13 episodes, but I have 7 episodes screenplayed, written, and I've already got. That's the reason. The main reason I got that was to make SCP content, and I've already got shots planned that I'm going to need that aerial perspective for.
Shit.
So, and then other nerd stuff. I got a 23 millimeter wide angle. I got the tilt shift. I got the tilt shift because doing real estate photography and for some of the SCP shots that I need, the tilt shift lens, you can, so this is a camera lens, see the best angle I can show you. It shifts. So this is a camera lens that I can shift the field of view left or right or up or down, however you want. A lot of people use these for architecture photography because when you're looking up, think about the skyscrapers in Manhattan. If you're looking up skyscraper, the straight lines are moving away from you so they converge, right? They'll get closer together from the ground perspective. Using this, I can take it from the ground perspective, shift the perspective of the camera lens up so that those building tops don't converge towards each other. They stay parallel or perpendicular to the ground and parallel with each other.
That's really neat.
The other thing, the reason I got this was in real estate photography, there's a lot of mirrors. Mirrors are the bane of my existence in real estate videography. What I can do with this is shift the perspective of the camera lens over so that I can get a shot from in front of a mirror without the camera being in the mirror in the shot.
That's one of the silliest things is, I can see the photographer in the mirror. And
so if I wanted to make, if I wanted to film an SCP, like, you guys know who I'm talking about when I say Doug? Doug is the SCP that lives in the mirror, and he's like Daniel or whatever the guy, the janitor, right? But Doug's in the mirror. If I'm doing, there you go. If I'm doing a skip that,
exactly the same time.
I need to be able to film in front of a mirror without
you being in the mirror.
Yes, and so this is going to help me do that. And then the lens that I'm using on the camera that I'm using, because I was using a webcam for this, and now I'm using the actual camera. This is the 12 millimeter ultra wide angle. I really like the image on this. So I got that for real estate shoots and SCP stuff as well. So just been nerding out on camera stuff.
Very neat. Very cool.
Yep.
See, Nolan, what did I tell you?
Yeah.
Let's talk about genre tags. We got about, how long do we have? About 15 minutes before Poufy comes around.
We spent like an hour talking about artisans.
Yeah, well.
The genre tag discussion continues. Parallel Potatoes have begun a new forum thread discussing the implementation of the genre thread proposal. They proposed the following preliminary list of tags to add to pages on the site: horror, comedy, science fiction, fantasy, mystery, weird fiction, political fiction, everyday, action, and LGBT. This list is not a comprehensive proposal, only a starting point according to Potatoes. Questions proposed for the thread are: If SCP genre tags are implemented, will creating a separate, smaller tag list for SCPs be easier for taggers than having a combined list for both Tales and SCPs? Will broader but less tags aid in discoverability of SCPs compared to using the existing Tale genre tags for SCPs? What tags should be added or removed from the separate list? A link to the thread is in the show notes. Staff is discussing the process for anonymizing metadata in articles posted to the wiki. Occasionally, an author wants to post a work anonymously or remove their attribution from a post that was made non-anonymously. This creates big work for staff, and Prismal has proposed a solution to the big work issue. For works that were previously attributed to their respective authors, the curation team has proposed a 1-week waiting period for an anonymization, during which the requesting author may retract their request. Another solution proposed is to no longer allow authors to have previously anonymous works reattributed. Anonymous authors can always publicly announce that they have written an anonymous article. The discussion is centered around changing the wiki metadata to reflect.
WRATHCON is here. The rules are simple. One winner. Every other article gets deleted forever. No teams, no old drafts, no reposts, and the theme is evil. Writing began on July 1st and goes until the 19th when posting begins. Posting runs from the 19th until the 23rd, and voting from the 23rd until August 1st. Accepted formats are SCP, Tale, GOI format, Site, Supplement, and Comic. Edits are allowed while the posting period is ongoing. After the posting period is closed, edits that change the article's content significantly will no longer be permitted. SPAG edits are allowed, as are cases approved by the contest marshals. The contest marshals are Stormbreath, Psychic Programmer, Modulum, Suzit, Whiteguard, and Napic. All losing articles will be commemorated after death. We will build statues for you. You will be forgotten. This is all that will remain. There's a lot more rules and things you should read on the contest page. The link is in the show notes. What do you think about WRATHCON? Tell us in the comments.
What's going on with new skips and tales these last 2 weeks?
Since the last episode, there's 21 new SCP articles, and get this, 32 new tales. There's 11 more tales in the last 2 weeks than there were SCP articles. I like. Tales good. Any favorites? Did you read any of the newies?
I haven't read any of the newies yet. There was one that was from the tail end of when we did last episode that I don't believe that I talked about. Let me pull up the name of it real quick. Yeah, it's SCP-8209, Repairing the World. This was actually kind of a hard-hitting SCP. Not much in hard-hitting as in, like, a Poufy's article that they made for Pride Fest, which is also amazing that you should read for anyone who hasn't. But more so in that it's a really unique experience that the author is putting forward. Essentially, it's giving the story of a researcher who is leading on a project of an anomaly that essentially, in this certain area, whatever laws that you write can go into effect. Everyone has to follow it, and it doesn't matter if it's just within that area or even it could be expanded globally. So the Foundation is trying to experiment with what they can do, and of course that is utilized in the form of essentially torturing D-Class. And yeah, but the real meat of it is with the researcher itself, because he gets very like an emotional and moral turmoil because of this. And I say this is a unique experience because the researcher in question is a practicing Jew. And one portion of the story is that he's communicating with a rabbi chaplain that's in Site 19, I believe. And he's basically talking with him, saying that, you know, with everything that he's allowed to say, just that everything that he's feeling, and that he doesn't know what to do. And the rabbi kind of intuits that he's like, he's not that he wants to know if he's a bad person, it's that he wants to be told that he's a bad person because he himself believes it.
Oh. So he's looking for like bad person validation?
Yeah, because he sincerely believes that because he's leading this kind of project, he's essentially leading and torturing these people, that he wants that kind of like validation that he has in the back of his mind that, yes, you are a bad person. Yes, you are going to hell, even though hell isn't really a thing in Judaism.
Yeah, the Jewish rabbi might be not the best person to go to for that. That sounds more like a Catholic thing.
Yeah. Yeah, but no.
I want guilt. Here you go.
Yeah, but the rabbi is very, understanding about it even all. And he's really, giving actual advice in what to do with this. It's very touching, and it's very good if anyone interested in reading is of Jewish faith or Jewish heritage, because this is some very good representation as portrayed by Yasi, who also comments on it, saying that this article is now actually probably his new favorite on the entire wiki. But also, speaking of Yasi, it also directly connects one of his articles, SCP-6130, as actually has a pivotal role in this story. Because essentially, the researcher gets to a point where he's like, I can't do this anymore. I can't work for the Foundation anymore and still feel like I can do this without compromising everything of who I am. So he's basically like, putting in his resignation. He's like, yeah, I know I'm going to get anesthetized. I don't care. I just can't do this anymore. And that's where SCP-6130 comes into this. And 6130, for those who haven't read it, it's with the Fire Suppression Department, which is essentially the department of the Foundation that deals with people who are wanting to leave the Foundation, who have moral or religious reasons where it's like, I can't do this anymore, I need to leave. And 6130
it's Foundation
is like
stop loss.
Yeah, and 6130 is like their biggest factual evidence that every single person who has ever lived will go to hell when they die.
Oh shit.
And so he uses that on this researcher too. But the thing is, 6130 isn't real. It's bullshit. It's something the Foundation literally made up in order to keep people on.
Damn.
If they ever wanted to resign. What he does is essentially fuck over the Foundation with the anomaly that he was in charge of. Because essentially, he makes a sort of one-person council decision of creating a new law, and at the end of it, he pulls out a gun and shoots himself in the head, killing himself on camera.
Jesus.
And it's revealed in the end that this law that he made, that is now globally in effect, is that death is now against the law. And if you die, the punishment is 10,000 years of paradise, which can be renewed at will.
Huh.
Before this happens, he sends one last message to the rabbi chaplain that he had been talking to, saying I know that you previously invited me to come celebrate Yom Kippur with the other Jewish staff at Site 19. I won't be able to make it, but don't worry, because I think I finally found a way to contribute in healing the world. Yeah, it's very it's very powerful. It's no reason that this is now Yassi's new favorite article.
Yeah. And Yasi, we've had Yasi on the show, right? Yasi is Yasi is of the Jewish persuasion.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's Orthodox Jewish.
Yeah. Hey, I'm walking here. So my three were I had three. They were all pretty short. SCP-7254 by Dr. Leonard, who I've reached out to see if we can get Dr. Leonard on the show. Dr. Leonard writes a lot for, and actually I believe created the Department of Folkloristics, Mythology and Folkloristics. And there's this really cool, like, other universe that Dr. Leonard has created all of these fantastical things and brought in a lot of, like, real-life folk stories and turned them into anomalies. If you're into that stuff, check out Dr. Leonard's author page. There's a lot in there. But this one in particular, I'm not sure if it really aligns with, and that's what stuck out to me. I was like, Dr. Leonard wrote this? It's basic an accidental demonic possession of a little girl. Basically, the Foundation gets their hands on this anomaly, which is the demon-possessed little girl, and they're like, what the fuck? Very short, very to the point, and very leaves you pondering what's going on article by Dr. Leonard. I liked it. SCP-8233 by Quicksilvers. And I'm not going to give it away. You need to read it. It is a nod to an old and very popular creepypasta. One of the creepypastas that I would say probably got a lot of people into SCP in the around the SCP 2000, the Series 3 and 4 time frame. It influenced me getting into SCP. So check out SCP-8233 by Quicksilvers if you're into creepypasta history. And then SCP-1305 by Trout Mask Replica, Dino Draws, and Vapid Poem. It's a rewrite of 1305 Cat Lure, and they nailed it. They absolutely nailed Cat Lure. The original anomaly was sort of an anglerfish anomaly, where the cat served as the bait for this creature that would eat people. They turned up the spooky on the rewrite. So 1305 Cat Lure by Trout Mask Replica, Dino Draws, and Vapid Poem. Check those out.
Cool.
Let's take a break, and we'll be back with off-site news and Poufy.
Between 7 to 9% of people are estimated to fear deep water. Even for those without full-fledged thalassophobia, oceans and rivers and lakes can easily become a source of terror. But water is everywhere. In the plumbing of your homes, in what you eat and drink, inside your own body. Water falls from the sky and runs beneath the ground. You can't run from it. You can't hide from it. Water will seep through the cracks and into the walls and make itself a part of the very air you breathe. That 9% is right. Water is to be feared, and you can never escape from it. Waterlogged is a short-form horror anthology podcast highlighting the underutilized forms of water. Instead of rivers and oceans, we focus on plumbing, puddles, mist, and more. Created by Daisy McNamara and produced by Law of Names Media and Sublittoral Sounds.
Dr. Gray, what are you doing here?
Intern, I thought no one came to this closet. So this is where I go to read my real crazy fan fiction. And what's that you're reading?
It's, well, you're not dangerous, so I guess I can tell you. This is Confinement. It's a comic series. It's about a guy named Connor who responds when he dies.
Really? That just sounds like a whole lot of bung to me.
It's absolutely not. It's actually really good, but I've been keeping it a secret for now. I don't want Dr. Bucket to get any ideas on dangerous tests he can make me do. Connor can afford to die, but not me.
Wow, that sounds excitingly veil-breaking. Do you know where I can get one?
Thanks for asking, Monica. All you need to do is look up SCP Confinement Kickstarter, and the pre-order page should be the first result. And even if you can't get in on the pre-orders, the comic will be for sale on the unredacted Etsy store after the Kickstarter ends.
Awesome! I'm already so excited to get mine. Ooh, maybe I can show them to Grim.
Thanks to our sponsor, The Holy Book Not by Dado. Some person who is not Dado heard voice in sky tell them to write a book that spreads Dado capitalist idealism around for all the people and also helps bring in the funding for more Dado products. If you like this content, then hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications for the channel if you're watching on YouTube. That's what the algorithm likes and would really help us get the word out about what's going on in the SCP community. If you want to support us beyond that, you can sponsor the show at patreon.com/scpweekly for as little as $2 a month.
In the world of podcasts, SCP Archives continues their ABCs of Death season. It's amazing. Their most recent episodes covered is SCP-7540, L is for Lamentations, by DJ Cactus, and SCP-7470, M is for Moonlight, so good, by It's a Bad Idea. Go subscribe to SCP Archives on Spotify and wherever podcasts are played. Link is in the show notes. Let's see, and a new podcast recently released a few weeks back. Waterlogged is a short anthology using underutilized forms of water horror. Oh no, instead of rivers and oceans, they instead focus on horrors that could come from plumbing, puddles, mists, and more. This series only has 2 entries out so far, with new episodes releasing every Monday. Waterlogged was created by Daisy McNamara and is produced by Law of Names Media. Go and support them by following Waterlogged on Spotify and wherever podcasts are played. We'll put a link in the show notes as well.
Yeah, that Waterlogged is actually really good. It's also...
it might be too scary for me.
It's
That's
also a
Phyrexian.
project that... Yeah, I was going to say, it's also a project that's helped with by Phyrexian Hollow, a frequent listener of this show who almost constantly emails us.
Super
Constantly.
listener.
Did they email us?
I don't
We'll
remember
find out
seeing
later.
an email from Phyrexian this week.
Oh no, Phyrexian, why? We'll have to yell at him later.
They got a job. They're too busy working with Waterlogged right now.
Gosh, nobody loves us anymore.
Hello?
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 Is there anyone out there?
Oh god.
Hi, it's me. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Alright.
Our guest this week is a relative newcomer to the Wiki's author club, but they've made a big splash with 16 SCP articles in their first year. PoufyPoufson, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having
Yeah.
me.
Yay!
I'm
Applause in the background.
Woo!
Round of applause.
I'm still a little bit nervous. Hi. This is
Hi.
Hi.
it's a little bit strange for me because I do listen to you guys. I listen to this podcast quite a bit on my work commutes and stuff like that. So
Cool.
it's
Long time
God.
listener, first time caller.
Before we actually get to the interview portion, we're just gonna play a quick game if you feel okay with that.
yeah, I love games.
All right. Yeah, and the game we're gonna play is called Fact or Myth.
Fact or
Last week when we had Pepper's Ghost on, they told us either 1, they've had lunch with the African American couple on the cover of Weird Al's Poodle Hat, or 2, they've had a tick bite that was fucked up in such a specific way that it ended up in medical textbooks. Yeah, I know I said that Poodle Hat had to have been the fact.
I mean, it has to be. It's so oddly specific.
I think
Yeah.
I'm voting for the tick bite. That is outlandish. I love the
I don't know.
outlandish.
It's so much vaguer to me in comparison. I mean, Weird Al is already niche. Being in a very specific. I'm gonna go with the Weird Al one. Also, Weird Al's been around forever, so I think I don't know, that sounds right to me.
And it appears that a majority of our Twitter poll, at 66%, also agreed that Poodle Hat was fact.
Yeah.
Kelsey, what was the answer?
Poodle Hat
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
was Poodle Hat.
Although those were that was a really good lie from Pepper's Ghost.
Yeah. So I asked what like how did that happen, and he said it was the couple from the cover of Poodle Hat was somebody that his parents had met at church, and they just got along and asked him to go to dinner, so they had dinner together. And the tick bite that is actually true. It just didn't happen to Pepper's ghost. It happened to somebody that they know.
Of course.
I like it.
Yeah, somebody's got to make the textbooks, I guess.
That's true. All those pictures of things that have happened to someone's flesh, those were all people.
All those diseases that have names, they're named after somebody.
So, on that topic, something else has happened the last 2 weeks. I had my last appointment with the therapist that I had been seeing. And one of them is a professional diagnostician. One of the things we talked about is how the new DSM, she had shown me her copy. And this woman is so serious about this. She has this book is not small. The whole book, color-coded tabs that she's gone through for very specific things to be able to look up in the future. There's like 60 fucking different color-coded tabs in this book. I'm like, this is serious business. And we were talking about how a certain amount of people have to do a thing for it to become like qualified to be a disorder. So like things have to happen to people to be in medical textbooks is fucking real. Enough people have to do something so fucking off the wall for it to be qualified as a mental disorder. And she was like, have you ever, I forget the name of it. She's like, there's something in here for people needing to either suck on or have their septum of their nose sucked on in order to get off during sex.
Wow.
And she's like, can you guess how many people the DSM needs to qualify something as a disorder to enter it? And I'm like, it's gotta be more than 5. She's like, yes, but think about that. There's at least 5 people who need to play and poop to get off during sex. Because that shit's in here. I was dying.
I can tell you there's well more than 5 of those. In any given city.
She's like, that means that was the joke. That means there's at least 5 people. And 5 people is too many.
Anyone who's ever been on a dating app in this day and age will know there is well more than 5 of them in any given city.
Not that we're kink shaming.
Yeah.
Not that we're kink shaming, of course.
No, it's a little bit, but not really.
Let that flag fly.
Fly your poop flags.
Not shaming, but definitely looking sideways a little bit.
Septum sucker.
Look
at that! Look at that dirty septum sucker at the pharmacy counter.
That feels like such a Gen Z thing to be. Like genuinely, to be all about the septums.
Well, the Gen Z thing would be that there is a prescription medication specifically for that septum sucking disorder, and the pharmacy techs, when Nolan gets his certification and his pharmacy tech license, he's going to be in the back like, hey, you know that stuff we just gave that guy Poufy at the counter over here? Like this is that he's one of those dirty septum suckers.
And then you look at the medication and it's derived of like a combination of like heroin and orange juice.
What's that South American plant that people ayahuasca?
Oh,
ayahuasca.
no.
Oh, that's
heroin,
actually
ayahuasca and orange juice.
That's actually becoming such a popular thing of like among like the new age people, like the ayahuasca retreats. And I look at the most like off the wall mentally ill person that I meet with love. I say this with love. And then they tell me they're going to an ayahuasca retreat and I'm like, oh girl, good luck.
Yeah. There's at least one good option of going off the rails in a safe environment that'll actually help with some mental disorders, and it is not ayahuasca at the moment. Have fun.
Now that we've opened up LSD for testing, really great results with microdosing LSD for things like PTSD, depression, anxiety,
and like the psilocybin, like the shroom stuff, and ketamine. Those have all had like really, really great outcomes for like PTSD, especially. However, ayahuasca is not typically included in that list.
No.
Oh no.
So
no.
LSD microdosing for things like PTSD and mental disorders is old school, but they stopped it. That just like marijuana. Oh, this is Schedule 2. Or Schedule 1. This is absolutely no helpful motive, nothing. And I mean, LSD is like 60s and 70s.
Yeah, it got tied
studies.
Too close to the political counterculture of the 60s, and
like and marijuana and things like that. But we're getting into so many cool things like lion's mane being seen as promising for helping rebuild neurons in the brain. Neural connections.
I'm a firm believer that everyone should meet the lady at least one time. Like, everyone should, not necessarily ayahuasca, but some kind of consciousness altering substance, like a full-on fucking trip once in their lives to experience the state of altered consciousness that comes. I think everyone should once, not every day, not even every week, one time.
On that note, make sure you have a responsible bus driver at hand.
Yeah.
Don't do it alone.
Yeah. Have a good babysitter.
Have a good bus driver.
And also, make sure that your phone is on Do Not Disturb.
Yeah.
Because I knew this person who had started getting into that, and they had one little, grounded, safe little trip, and then I think it was their boyfriend or someone they were going out with at the time called them and like jokingly spooked them and set off the entire trip. So keep your finger on that. Do Not Disturb.
I had one experience where I came back to reality, and all the people that I was with, I was like, man, they were like you were gone, dude. And I was like, yeah, man, I could swear to you right now that I talked to an owl for an hour. And they were like, you fucking did. You were standing there in the driveway talking to an owl in the tree branch that stood there and looked at you for a fucking hour. That actually happened. I was like, oh, all right, cool. At least I didn't imagine it.
Yeah, no. At least you knew what was happening. But like shrooms for PTSD in like military vets though, like this shit changes you, and the helpfulness of something like that is necessary to life. Absolutely necessary. Yep.
This is like a topic that I could probably talk about with you guys for hours upon hours. Because right now I live in Florida, and we've got Florida's known for a lot of things, but I don't know if most people are aware of like the really flourishing like psychedelic scene here.
Nice.
Because one thing that's really super popular here in Florida now is like kava and kratom bars.
Yeah,
and those are really popular, especially with like the veteran community down here, because like people will drink these teas for like their chronic pain or their PTSD or anxiety and stuff like that.
Kratom didn't do anything for me. I was very disappointed.
Oh, it does taste quite bad. I will agree with you there.
So bad.
Are you?
Kratom is so gross.
You've got the ADHD, no?
Yes.
That's probably why it didn't do much for you, because the kratom's like more of like a stimulant. So if anything, it'll probably like just make you a little more focused.
So now I'm back in New York. I'm gonna have a lot of chances to try different things. New York has entered the give no fucks age. There's a lot of things going on. That's what I was bringing it around to, between kava and kratom and ketamine and mushrooms. I was walking home the other night Get off the train, I turn the corner, and it's raining, and somebody's under, like, one of those pop-up tent things, but it was small, like, you could fit one person underneath it, and every time somebody walked by, and eventually I walked by, I heard them down the block. Shrooms? Do you want shrooms? I've got shrooms. Are you interested? Would you like shrooms? Like, this guy is just standing on the street corner asking literally every single fucking
opens up
body.
Opens up his overcoat, and there's just all the baggies.
Substances are the flavor of the times. I think
that's so cool.
I mean, in some level, I think about it because it's like people really, I've noticed, are really wanting to reach some higher place right now, especially in a time where, you know, organized religion is on the downswing. Substances are on the upswing because people want that enlightenment.
Florida seems like the petri dish of all these substances too, because every time I hear
Florida's just
something
a petri dish
new,
in general.
When people would go crazy on bath salts and you'd watch the video on TikTok, guess where they were? It was fucking Florida. Yeah, Flocka, crocodile, all of the new shit that's coming across that's basically heroin and comet. Flesh. I don't know what the fuck it is.
Well, and then I know before my time, I think like maybe when you guys were more, there was the whole, what was it? It was called like Spice or something. That was out of Florida too.
Salvia. Yeah.
So speaking of salvia, working for a garden center a couple of years ago as somebody who unloaded the plants from the companies that delivered them, make sure went in every day to water them. Just selling salvia is fucking weird.
Salvia is the scientific name for sage. So any of your sage plants or sage variants are going to start with salvia.
I have bus driven for people on salvia too.
Yeah.
Like that's
salvia
why seeing the word just makes me go, ah!
Yeah.
We're just selling this in a regular Walmart? That's so weird.
Just light it up, walk around your house, and get the spooks out.
Just set the plant on fire and carry it around your house. All right.
Let's talk about Poufy's lies.
And now, PoufyPoufson, Poufy von Poufenstein III is going to tell us a fact and a myth. Yes, and it's up to us to figure out which is which. Poufy, what are your fact and your myth? And don't tell us which is which. Just tell us two things.
Okay, so the first one, I was there at the Capitol on January 6th. Mm-hmm. Or I've personally met Cyndi Lauper.
My vote's for Cyndi.
I'm going with January 6th.
Of course you are. We never we have picked the same thing like once. Seriously, I'm going with Cyndi Lauper.
I do live in Florida.
Same?
I might go with January 6th.
Ah!
However, I don't think it was because for the reasons that we think it is.
Oh, it just happened to be
clever.
No, it's he specifically said I was there. Are we saying you were where?
Yeah.
Or when he says
was there on January 6th taking a shit in my bathroom.
Yeah, I was on fucking Alaska doing science with penguins.
I was there, you know? Like I was there.
You were in DC at the Capitol where January 6th the whole thing was happening.
You were at the insurrection.
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
Insurrection's a strong word.
Okay, it was more
of a protest.
Oh shit! So you were there. Been to court lately?
I think we should maybe cut for any incriminating evidence.
My lawyers are informing me to remain silent.
All right, so back to our regularly scheduled program.
Right, this is supposed to be about SCPs.
Yeah. Listeners can respond to our Twitter poll and tell us what you think, and we'll find out the answer next week.
Interview time. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's start off with this one. How weird is it that you've been writing for the SCP Wiki for like a year, and here you are on a podcast being listened to by hundreds of thousands of people that are interested in SCP?
You say hundreds of thousands, but oh my god, what is the number at that stupid Dr. Bob video at this point? It's at like 140,000 or something.
Yeah.
It's been a little bit wild. I mean, I had like wiki numbers pretty soon after I joined. Not to like humble brag or anything.
No, that's cool, Brad.
For a long while, it was like I was pretty much unknown in like the offsite kind of community. There wasn't, I wasn't known. And after like the past month or two or whatever, there's been stuff all over the place. And this is like especially, I don't know, it's kind of surreal in a way, just because like I said, I listen to you guys on Spotify and podcasts while I'm driving back and forth on the highway to my job. So I don't know, it's a bit wild, and I'm reminded every day in the SCP community of like just how much history there's been that I have not been around for.
Yeah.
How did it feel having us talk about you?
It was like kind of like when you, I don't know, like walk in on your parents. It was really odd.
Wow, that sounds horrifying.
It was like, ooh,
something you'd rather forget.
Well, I didn't think about that. It was just like, oh, I'm not supposed to be here.
Man.
This is for closed. I'm not supposed to be in this room right now. Yeah, no, it's definitely. It's hard to say anything other than just like weird. It's really I'm not used to that kind of thing.
But now the actual second question: what got you into SCP?
So, it's a little cute. It's a little tragic. Last year, 2023, the start of it, my at the time boyfriend was getting really into like the Kane Pixels backroom stuff, some SCP stuff, some creepypasta stuff, and he was showing me a lot of like TikTok content around that time, and it made me remember kind of remember a lot of the SCP stuff that had popped off when I was like a kid in like elementary, middle school, like Markiplier's containment breach stuff, Tat's top 22 scariest, like stuff like that, the Volgun. And I wasn't fully sure if this place was still around, and so I started peeking in. And I had never been super like into the wiki when I was a kid. I mostly just watched like the YouTube stuff, and I took a peek, and then I remember it was like I read SCP 5000 first because I was like, whoa, they're up to 5,000. Then 7,000. I was like, whoa, they're up to 7,000. And then I remembered as a kid, I don't mean to make you guys feel old, but I was in fact a kid.
Well, you're gonna do it.
Being really, I remember that I was really invested in like all of the Scarlet King stuff. So I ended up finding out that there was an SCP that was the Scarlet King, and I read it. It was by Tufto, and I was so transfixed with it about how like I had not really fully been aware of like the depth of writing and literary quality that was on the wiki until I read that Tufto proposal. And immediately afterward, I was just so just blown away that I instantly made a Wikidot account, instantly applied, and was like, I need to be a part of this.
Tell us about your second SCP.
Oh, the big one. Marianne Simmons will buy a bagel at Winsbury's. That's what it's called. It was my first SCP was what's the number? I think it's like 6298. It's about some fish that make antipsychotics out of their glands. Really long. I had posted it right before GoblinCon, and it was pretty unknown. My second SCP is when most people or everyone involved in the community learned who I was. It's this funky little idea that I had got inspired really hardcore by like number stations from YouTube. I don't know if you guys know about that whole like creepypasta thing. I was really inspired by number stations, and the actual like original genesis was after reading, I also forget the number, DJ Cactus's the Pattern Screamer.
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember reading that and I was like, this is a really cool idea. I was really interested in it. And I was like, maybe I'm not going to write exactly like this, but I want to try my hand at something that exists but doesn't exist. And then when I thought about these number stations, I was like, what if there's like this, I don't know, really fucked up entity trapped in some state that is like trying to break through, and the Foundation is totally clueless to the point where some force or whatever sends them this cryptic device to try to warn them ahead of time.
And they're just fumbling around with it, just trying to figure.
No clue. The thing that
it's about bagels.
Yeah, no, because this is something that I love doing in my writing, where it's like, pretty much, like in most of my articles, it's like I like having the Foundation as having these things that are so beyond their scope that they don't even realize how grave they are. Like, they think that they have everything out of control, like in control, sorry, and they really don't. But the only people who can see that are the readers who are reading into it like that. Because the struggle that I had, I mean, the first draft, I think the first person that I showed it to was Diana Barry, who's the creator of Just Girly Things and another one of my favorite authors. Although she's not as active now, to my knowledge. But and she said, "Wow, that's a really cool idea. I wish it was in this draft." And so the delicate balance that I had to play with that as a really new author, mind you, was making it just right so that it's believable that the Foundation is clueless to what's going on, but enough of the readers could pick up onto it. You know?
Yeah.
And I was so nervous to actually post it. And then when I did, I remember I hit post and I was so anxious that I essentially threw my phone. And I was like to my boyfriend, I was like, can we like play some Minecraft or something? And so we were sitting in our living room, playing the Switch version of Minecraft, and all of a sudden I hear my phone going off with a bunch of Discord pings.
Oh no.
One after the other, one after the other, one after the other, of like pretty much every like who's who of the time. In the SCP-19 the Site 19 Discord.
Yeah, 19 Cord, yeah.
Where did you come from? This is incredible. What's going on? And I was like, oh my god.
Not to feed the ego beast, but one thing that I really enjoy about your writing, getting ready for this episode, I went to your author page, I browsed through, read some of your articles in their entirety, just kind of got the feel for some of the other ones. And one of the things that I think you do really well, and a lot of people try to do and don't pull it off as well as you naturally, I think it just comes naturally to you, is not giving everything away. You're writing an article about this horrific thing, exactly what you said. It's so big and so incomprehensible that the Foundation doesn't even know how fucked they are. But you do a good job of delivering that to the reader, like, oh, I can see this, but I can also see why the Foundation wouldn't, because they're so consumed with trying to figure out what fucking bagel means that they don't see the bigger implications.
That's really what I really strive to do. I love, because I still, even now, consider myself an SCP reader before an author, as I don't know, as weird as that might sound to some. The articles that I love the most are the ones that really make me think and make me use my noggin and imply so much with so little, but still tell, like, you can get the sense of what's going on. And I feel, not to get, not in even like a soapboxy way, because the writing is still good, but I feel like the current trend or the current climate for writing on the wiki is everything is very literalist now. I feel like a lot of the popular and, you know, less popular, just more, the current zeitgeist is these very story-like SCPs where everything is described. There's a lot of prose, there's a lot of description, there's a lot of craft in the story.
Yeah.
Which I feel is probably one of the biggest differences now from a lot of, I wouldn't say older stuff, but definitely like, where I like to read the most, which is like the Series 3, Series 4 kind of period.
Yep.
Which really did know a lot of the times to leave a lot up in the air. The fridge logic period of SCPs, which I feel like we've kind of moved away from.
Yeah, I see exactly what you're talking about. So on the storytelling topic, we want to hear from you about a special time you went stargazing.
Oh, not this article. Oh God. So that article and the whole thing really blurred the line between a story and just straight up nonfiction about my life.
And this is 8105 we're talking about.
This is 8105, aka 105.7 Easy FM. Which is, I think at the moment is probably my personally I would have voted as my best article. But stargazing, I can take one of those examples out of the article. There's a park near here that me and my boyfriend used to go to, and there was a night where we were just there on one of those little hills, those little embankments, holding hands and looking at the stars and just talking about anything.
Yeah, that one, just reading it, you can tell that's a very personal article to you.
Yeah, and I mean, for the most part, I think a lot of the people who read my stuff, I mean, everyone really talks about how much I put of myself into the stuff that I write. I don't know.
Did you mention that in our last show?
I don't think we did.
8105 is the one. I remember Peppers left a really good comment on it. They're quite a enthusiast of it. Right. That was posted. I posted that like right after the 8,000 contest had concluded too. So I don't know. I churn out a lot of stuff at a pretty fast rate.
No kidding.
And I'm not really. I think a lot of other authors have this very like methodical and kind of industrious. You know, they write 1,000 words a day or 500 words a day or whatever. But I tend to go maybe like 7 days, 8 days, 9 days without writing anything, and then I'll have the entire article in my head, sit down, and like just shoot out the first draft in maybe like an hour or two, and then I'll go a few days without writing anything. So
is that creative process, you just spend that time where you're not writing, just building the world in your brain, and then all of a sudden, okay, it's time, and then you get it all out at once?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, I also kind of have to. I mean, I work quite a bit. I'm quite a busy person, so I don't often get as much time as I'd like to just sit down and write a bunch of stuff.
Next question. Tell us a little bit about your real-life heroes and what makes Francis Bacon a garbage person, just an absolute dumpster fire motherfucker.
Real-life heroes. I am never, ever going to say a painter because they all suck. They're all really trashy in their own ways. Picasso, great paintings. He was so misogynist and hated almost all of the women in his life with a passion. Salvador Dali, cool paintings. He was also like a Nazi. Most of the people I look up to are, I don't know, writers or musicians. I mean, I love James Baldwin. He's got some really great ideas on the world. I'll always recommend his writings to anyone, especially people who are from like an immigrant background such as myself, because he writes about the outside, the non-Western world very, very eloquently and almost spiritually a lot of the time. And then I'm also a really big fan of Dostoevsky for writing. He's great. Actually, the two are related because James Baldwin has a great quote about Dostoevsky. It's something about how beautiful it is to have a thought or feeling and find that Dostoevsky has already written it down for you. And that's kind of my experience with reading him. And then for music, I mean, people like David Bowie or Jarvis Cocker from this British band named Pulp from the 90s are people that I listen to and I read a lot, just because the way that they viewed art and stuff like that was very intriguing to me. Oh, Francis Bacon. Oh, where to begin with him? I paint a lot. It's one of my passions, and he's a huge influence on me. And I will never deny such. But his life is so fascinating to me because it's one of these really clear-cut and drawn-out examples of when the abused becomes the abuser. Because he grew up, this ties into my most recent SCP article, you may have heard of it, Affordable Healthcare Actor, which I wrote for Pride Fest, which
I've heard of it.
I'm so happy with how it turned out and how it's been received. But Francis Bacon is featured, semi-prominently. More prominently featured is George Dyer, who was the second of his major loves in life. And Bacon was a Irish Catholic turned English painter. He grew up in Britain during the 20th century, very, not cool place towards gay people. And he had his first lover, who was a really, really kind of sadistic dude who, beat the shit out of him all the time. And Bacon was kind of into this. After that guy died, Dyer was the next guy, and he was this really working class criminal in the London area. Very, common kind of dude, but very built and athletic and handsome, and 20 years Bacon's junior when they met. And they both had problems with alcohol to begin with. And but Francis Bacon was really attracted to George Dyer's masculinity. But George Dyer, despite looking like this kind of hardened, buff little criminal, was a massive softie in his heart. He was really affectionate. He wanted love. He wanted love. And this frustrated Francis Bacon to no end. And after a certain point, he gets so frustrated that he starts becoming the sadist to Dyer and really becoming extremely abusive towards him. And this continues for some time until the eve or a few days, I'm a little fuzzy on the timeline, of Francis Bacon's Grand Palais retrospective in Paris, which is one of the big art museums. I think before him, the only other painter that had a retrospective there in their lifetime was Picasso. And right on the eve of the exhibition, they get into a huge fight in the hotel room, and Dyer actually ends up killing himself right before the retrospective. And so the next day, Bacon arranged with his friends to hide Dyer's body so that it wouldn't get out to the press, and goes to the retrospective, and actually, it's on camera, you can probably find the archival footage. He pretends to be shocked when he gets the news of Dyer's death while at the exhibition in front of the French president.
Wow. God.
And the way that their relationship is talked about has always been so fascinating to me, because Dyer and Dyer's suicide were painted extensively after his death by Bacon, who was really haunted and tortured with guilt for what happened, as he should, honestly. But the historians and art critics, they really talk about the relationship like this tragic, beautiful tempest thing or whatever, when it was I don't know, they've always turned Dyer into this sort of martyr for Bacon's career, that in a way that's never really sit right for me. And so that's something that, ended up becoming the overarching motif in my little simple ghost story that's anything but.
The article also got its own declassified version on the subreddit SCP Declassified.
Yeah, that declass what made me really happy because I don't know, just what's the full 2-air divine, right?
2-air divine.
Yeah. The attention to detail in the reading side that they put into it really made me happy to pick up on so many of these little references and clues that I lay out. And the declass is wonderful and as poignant as a completely independent writing piece.
All right. What authors have taken you under their wing and helped you grow as a writer?
The biggest one, I think the biggest help to me of like an author taking me under their wing, Random and I don't know if you've heard of him.
Time or two.
Yeah. When I was writing my second SCP, Marianne Simmons, he was quite involved in critting that, and actually it came about, it's still really funny to me. I had been floating the draft around, mainly asking questions because I was really worried that some of it might come across as being too similar to Inside, which is 2719, I think. Is that the right number? Probably. Probably not, actually. But I was worried about that. And this dude, who, I mean, I'm at the time even newer than I am now to the whole SCP kind of fandom side of things, so I have no idea most of the time who wrote what. So in comes this feller who starts asking me a little bit more about the idea. I was like, well, I'm just worried, it might come across as too similar to Inside. And so this turns into like about a half hour of critting of the idea and the draft and stuff like that. And like I said, it's like a half hour before someone's like, hey, this guy's the one who wrote Inside. And I was like, what? I really didn't know. And after
among
that,
other things,
among other things, not this
just
little
like
thing called the
Cool War. Yeah.
Just I don't know if you've heard of it. It's like if someone said Quantum was like the person who wrote The Escapist, and I was like, you're missing something. But no, yeah, and I mean, Random and I was also the first person to suggest tying like my passion for like sound design and audio engineering into SCP writing, and so that's how I ended up getting that idea to make that audio log in 7419 that has really shocked people since. Because originally, when I first showed it to Random and I, it was like a USB drive, and it just did like text documents of the logs. And so he suggested I move it over into the audio direction, and that was, I mean, it worked. His advice worked. That article popped off, and then since then, he's had a pretty big part in shaping some of my biggest articles and my style in general, like Sphere and 7575. But yeah, it was him. During Sphere also, I got a lot of help from Billith too, who's super cool, super interesting author, and just creative in general, because his music stuff is super interesting. The ambient works that he does, both oriented towards SCP stuff and otherwise. If you haven't listened to Billith's stuff, go do it. Just the music, not even just read his articles, but listen to the music too, because it's some. Yep. He's got some cool stuff. And he helped me a lot with.
Fun fact, Billith also just got engaged.
Congratulations,
saw that
Billith.
in a chat, or like I want to say like an hour before, and I was like, "That's so." I think I said to Trout Mask Replica, "That's so funny," because it was like, oh, all the SCP authors are getting married, and I was like, well, I mean, at least if it makes you feel better, the SCP community prevented my marriage from happening, so.
Oh.
But I don't know. It's wild.
I was very tempted to just quote retweet it and just type gay because everyone was congratulating him. But me and Pillith like talk all the time. He like shares with me all the new like content that they make with Black Box.
The deletion stuff. The deletion stuff.
Yeah, the Department of Deletions
is so cool to me, especially like the visual stuff. I can never remember the numbers of things, but I want to say it's actually his deletions one that features Inside in it, but there's this image in it that has like haunted me since I saw it, of this, I want to say like an elderly woman, and it's like a GIF that's like flashing in and out that has absolutely like haunted me ever since I've seen it. And I really desperately want to know how he made it, and I have not been able to get an answer.
Yeah, getting answers out of Billith is like getting sand out of a cactus.
And yet still less cryptic than Randomini.
Yeah. Which is saying something.
Yeah, I mean, and then I guess the third, I don't know, to move on. The third person that's definitely taken me under the wind would be Locke, SD Locke, who I started getting more familiar with after she read Spear, which is, an article that I did with a lot of audio in it. I mean, that article was really, really controversial when it came out because of how much it relies on audio-based storytelling. It was kind of a conceit that I had to do at the end to even have transcripts in it, because my original intent was to not have that, and really, ideally anyone who's going to read or consume that article listens to the audio, because that's kind of how I intended it. But it was pretty controversial when it came out, and I may have fanned the flames a little bit with its reception, because there were a lot of people that was like, well, dude, it's a writing site, you can't really expect people to not read writing. And I was like, I don't know, my view has always been that because the SCP kind of project is web fiction, the nature of the internet opens up so many more opportunities for storytelling than just words on a piece of paper. And yeah. I've wanted to get better at figuring out how to exploit that and create articles and stories and experiences that really would not be possible outside of this current digital age that we're in. Now,
that argument kind of gets into the people who use crazy CSS themes or format screws or even visual items in their articles that the articles rely on. Like, yeah, it's not just words on paper, man.
Well, like, during the 8,000 contest, the front runner for quite a bit was Iron Shears and Guayer's. What number did they end up on? Was it 8,500? It's the with love from Ada, I think is the title. Where it's like it's a video game.
Yeah,
and it was the front runner for quite some time with quite a sizable lead, and there was quite a bit of fuss that was raised at that time, because it was like, does a video game really have its place on the SCP Wiki? And I don't know, why not? Yeah. We're on the internet,
right? And that's not the first time it's been done.
It isn't the first time it's been done. Sumerian did it first, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Because I
that old SCP RPG.
Yeah. To me, that's like the big Sumerian thing. I associate that with him the most. But
there was sort of a choose your own story type video game theme in another one too. It was more words on page, but there was another game, like straight up game.
And there's gonna be many more if Jackal has his way.
Yeah, and then on that same kind of theme too, another one that was, well, it was in the top 3. It was number 1 for a while. Trolls. That one relies on people. Like, that one doesn't make sense without the images.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But what I've noticed is that, like, people are so, like, I don't know, from Sphere's reception, people are so much more receptive to an article being reliant on images than audio. And this is something generally that I see across the board, because visual information is so much more valued because you can instantly kind of experience it.
Yeah.
And so people are much less willing to engage with audio, I've found, because of just, it takes time.
And video too. Gregory Carpenter's using a lot of that with his VKTM stuff.
That is true. Although, it's Gregory, so
Yeah.
it's going to be so well done that I don't think most people will raise a fuss.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody's going to look at Gregory and be like, who is this new guy? And how does he dare?
Nobody's going to look at Gregory and be like, oh, this author is clearly using a gimmick to mask their lack of skill,
Yeah.
But audio, I think, is definitely an underexploited media on the wiki.
So the reception of your article that relied on audio sphere, how did that crit affect you?
So there's a lot of layers to it, because Marion Simmons really features audio as well, but it's kind of a supplement rather than the core feature of it. And it wasn't until either right before Sphere or shortly after that I had my first article deleted and into the negatives. And so I was fairly insulated from, I will admit, I was pretty insulated from the type of negative crit or critical feedback that is the backbone of the SCP Wiki. And I worked a lot on the article, and because I was so new and that kind of critical feedback was so unfamiliar to me, it was really difficult for me to not take it personally. And that had been something that I had taken for granted because I was mostly insulated from that kind of thing. But I don't know, it was definitely a big changing point for me, because the desire, I guess, I think pretty much every author wants to write stuff that does well and that makes an impact and that makes a splash. And I've been through it, obviously. I mean, I had a period where I was really, really, concerned and anxious about all of this criticism and the way that my stuff was being received. But one thing that I admire about a lot of the newer authors who are new users who have their fresh little ideas, that they're writing for the fun of it. And they're taking the crit and they're like, this is my idea. But I've seen so many others, more once you've been for a while, where you get so fixated on your article needs to be big, it needs to have a legacy and stuff like that, that you're not receiving the feedback, you're not receiving it, but you're also just not having fun anymore. And
did you get caught up in that? Did you feel that way?
I did for a little bit, honestly. I'm not gonna dress it up. I did get really caught in this idea of having to maintain a reputation, I guess, if you will. And when you're so focused on reputation and brand and that kind of stuff, you kind of get taken away from the hobby side of it, where it's like you're writing and these people aren't leaving these comments or this feedback to try and tear down your brand or whatever. They're doing it because it's a skill, it's a community, it's a hobby, and you want to get better at writing. You don't want to stagnate and stuff like that. And so getting that idea really ingrained in my mind, that it's not about taking you down or anything like that, but it's more just about growth. Once that kind of did set in, and I was like, okay, I'm writing to have fun, and I'm also writing to improve and learn and stuff like that, I started enjoying writing as much as I did when I had first gotten on. And I like when there's these crit staff and these people who do really try to emphasize that fun side of it, the growth side of it, rather than the legacy or reception side of things.
Did you find when you started getting that negative crit, after you had experienced so much success, did you have some negative reactions? Did you do any lashing out?
Oh, yes, I did. Very publicly, too. A lot of it is still probably on the page, but yeah. Sphere in particular, I mean, that coincided with a kind of a rough period, so I was already a little bit sore. That was right around the time that me and my ex-boyfriend broke up, was when it got posted. So I was a little bit sore and touchy, and I was really quite sour at some of the crit, particularly towards Ori Tiefling in that moment. Got into quite a bit of it in the Discord, and I don't know. I remember at the time feeling like a lot of the feedback that they were leaving was, it's like they weren't engaging with what I was trying to do. But in hindsight, looking at it, it was like, I mean, I put so much effort into the multimedia component of it, but there was a less, like the focus being less on the more traditional story aspects. I mean, that is going to be something that people are going to criticize. I just couldn't see that at the time because of how, wrapped up in my mind I was at the time. But I got very, very defensive to a lot of people, and I don't know. I've made amends since then, and it's kind of a growing pain because around the same time too, I think it was like immediately after or a little bit after, Plague talked to me about some stuff about what obsessing over reception and perfection and being really defensive, and how it can kind of taint your experience on the wiki. And actually now looking back on it, it's quite funny because a lot of the stuff that he said was what he kind of ended up exploring on SCP-8000 as of late. It was kind of that similar kind of idea, and he really nailed it on the head with that one. I mean, I read it. That was one of 3 entries in that contest that made me full out cry reading.
So, lessons learned in there. Let's talk about what you learned about diplomacy, and specifically one of the things that you brought up when we talked before, diplomacy around some of the established characters on the wiki and how you treat them as an author. What lessons have you learned, and how did you learn those lessons?
Oh, it was difficult. I mean, I'm autistic. And so...
Oh, same.
Yeah.
Great company.
Yeah, they're surrounded.
Yeah, no, great. I like to have company with my people, but I came on super new, not really having been immersed in the actual fandom side of things, and was noticed pretty early before I really knew anything about anything when it came to the site culture. And so I had to learn a lot really quickly about, and I mean, this is a thing that exists everywhere, and I'm sure most other autistic people struggle with identifying, for lack of a better term, like the clickiness or groups or history and stuff like that, and the different dynamics. There's a way that you have to be, and I felt way out of my depth in navigating all of these little circles, especially after, people like Rounder or Calibold or Ori, respected names. And, I don't know. It's still something that I struggle with understanding, the way that people interact, the histories, the layers to everything like that, but it's definitely something you have to learn and try to be civil about things and not take things out of the water, especially when you get into when I've gotten more gotten a little bit higher in profile, and so being in spaces with with people. You're not always going to agree on things, but it doesn't necessarily have to turn into a big shit flinging contest a lot of the time.
Did you have to learn those lessons on your own, like the hard way, or was there interactions where people pulled you aside and said, "Hey, Poof, listen, man"?
No, I definitely had to learn the hard way. For a while, I was kind of somewhat like isolated from a lot of the other people. And then I've kind of wormed my way back into things and chilled out, I guess is the best way to describe it. I'm a very opinionated person. Sometimes I gotta learn how to reel this in.
Yeah. All right. What media do you consume outside of SCP?
What media do I consume outside of SCP? Well, I don't know. I like reading a lot. I read a lot, both SCP, but also a lot outside of SCP by two favorite authors that I read, Dostoevsky and Cormac McCarthy. I recently, like last month, actually maybe 2 months now, reread The Idiot by Dostoevsky. And then I'm also really big into anime. Really into anime, really into like sci-fi TV and film. I saw the A24 film. I saw the TV Glow recently. That was super good. I don't know if you guys have heard of it.
What's it called?
I haven't seen it.
I saw the TV Glow. It's like a surrealist, and I mean, when I say surrealist, I mean in like the classical kind of dream world. Surrealist sci-fi horror, and it's a super queer film. I always recommend, as I was recommended, to read as little into what it's actually about if you want to see it, just so that way you can have fresh eyes, because it's a really exceptional experience. After I'd watched it, I was kind of like on my bathroom floor, fetal position, just like crying.
I need to watch this now.
It's really good. And while it is mainly intended as like a queer and trans allegory, I think it can be really broadly read for anyone who's lived with regrets and experienced social isolation and alienation. And it's a really fantastic film. I mean, A24 has put out a lot of really great movies in the last year. I had a similar experience and impact from Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is another movie that absolutely destroyed me. I watched it, the first time I watched it was, again, with my boyfriend at the time. And it's...
Don't watch that one on ayahuasca.
Oh? Are you speaking from personal experience?
No, I can only imagine.
Yeah, the hot dog finger scene on ayahuasca goes crazy. But I watched that movie for the first time with my boyfriend. It's gonna be a memory for my entire life of us just holding each other, watching it, and crying. But that's like one of those movies. I was talking about it with a buddy that it feels like one of the few times that a movie has gotten the like rapturous acclaim and success and accolades that it really deserves, because I really do feel like that's a movie of a lifetime.
Anything you want to plug before we get into listener mail?
Anything that I want to plug?
It doesn't have to be your stuff, can be your stuff, but anything at all that you want to plug.
Oh, anything. All right, so it's not gonna be my stuff. All right, so we're gonna do what's the number though? Head Figurine by Industry Standard. I forget the number of it though. And then 8995 Surfs Up by Sound Chaser. It was an entry to the 8000 contest. I think it also got a mention on Simply Creative People too. Horrifying article. Really deeply disturbing article. I mean, Sound Chaser is when people say surrealist horror on the SCP Wiki, I mean, Sound Chaser is one of the few people that I read that really get into that really freaky horror that can only exist in dream logic. It's a fantastic article. It's claustrophobic. It's sweaty. It's dirty. It's caked in mud. Oh, it's really great. And I really aggressively plugged it during 8,000 because for the first 3 days I think it was sitting at like 10, and it's too good. It's too good to be under 100. I would definitely recommend that article above anything else. The title is in reference to the Beach Boys song from the scrapped Smile album. Make of that what you will.
And then head figurine is SCP-8357.
That's the one by Industry Standard. Yeah, Indie does really great work.
All right, so check out those recommendations from PoufyPoufson, one of the hottest authors on the SCP Wiki over the last year. 16 articles, 16 articles in what, 12, 13, 14 months, something like that?
It's like 13
like
or something.
One a month.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
One a month is a lot.
I need to slow down.
And personal shout out again for any of those who enjoy gay ghost stories. Please read SCP-8541. Do look out for the content warning at the very top, though. It's very important, you guys.
Oh, wait, can I do one more? Like one of actually mine?
Send it.
8105, Easy FM. I would like to see that higher. I don't know. I really love that article of mine. So yeah.
Yeah, I gave that one a read. This morning I gave that one a read. It's really good.
All right.
Great dialogue in that one for being what it is and not really like one that you would expect to see a lot of dialogue in. There was really great dialogue in that one. As an old radio guy, good job.
I had actually really wanted to make that radio show segment an actual audio log, but there's 3 callers and there's Danny, and I couldn't find the cast for it at the time. That's why.
I mean, if you're looking for like a future audio adaptation of it, you know, Maxwell sent me a Blue Yeti mic that should be coming in tomorrow. So
maybe we can make it happen now.
Yeah, if you're looking for someone, you know, I can. You know, I'm not putting myself out there.
I have you in mind for something already.
But anyway, do we have mail?
We do! There's so many things, actually.
We got a shit ton this week.
Mm-hmm.
Hey there, from the inbox. We've swiftly handled your recent acquisition. Detailed information is available in the attachments. If there's anything else you require or if you have any questions, kindly feel gratis to contact us. We're dedicated to providing excellent support. And that was, I can't remember the name. It was definitely from one of those countries where they have those kinds of names, but
yeah, definitely.
One of those places where they have one of those names. I love it.
Hi, I have been out of circuits mostly since episode 12. I start episode 13, and what does happen? Talk about bidet. Cool, I was just off one. Get one. You look like you are.
I remember that conversation.
You look like you are okay at first glance, Patreon-wise. Do you need more tongue-twisting text? Winky face. The Department of Complaints is there to help you.
Department.
Emoji.
Koala
emoji. No? Hope to get back in the swing of things over summer. I kinda have some issues to settle work-wise around here. Cheers, Arsfel.
You guys remember that video that we got sent of snow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the last mail we got from
That was the guy?
That was Arsfel.
Oh my god.
I knew I recognized the name.
That sounded like it was from the director of the department.
Okay, so from Twitter, we got a lot of these. Mailcore says, here and we'll read it on air this week. Thanks.
Thanks. Grigory Carbon says, no.
Nice.
Yeah, I guess we're not being invited on Simply Creative People anytime soon. From Raz, they write, hey, do the meat suit maintenance. Eat actual food. Drink actual water. Coffee is magic, but coffee does not count as water.
No.
They know us very well.
Yeah. From Phyrexian Hollow, they write, hey, I'm the real Nolan. There is a doppelganger using my face and voice on the show. If he objects, remember, I have a new job.
Now there's an SCP idea.
Ha ha ha, very funny.
Fucking.
This comment was brought to you by WRATHCON hater tears and viewers like you. Thank you, Dow Macaulay.
Oh my god.
Love you, Tao.
They have no proof I did it. Good luck trying to get any data off that drive, bruh. Gonna be hard to read it after it gets smashed by hammers. Fern. I definitely don't think he's the real Nolan at all. No. And hello. We have been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty from Fantem.
Thanks, friend.
Thanks,
fucking Fantem.
As conceived in 1632 by Portuguese printing press operator Andre Felipe, boxing was a gentleman's game in which two men would square off and regale each other with stories, monotonous for days on end, until one of them fell to the ground from boredom or exhaustion. From Quasi Quafter.
Whoa.
That's how it's spelled. That's how I'm going to say it.
I expected to hear something about hell on a cell at the end of that one. Big bug on second floor bathroom. Do not touch it. It will bite, and we don't know what it is. Cockroach, like long, a lot of legs. Altofino. Might be one of those house centipedes. We have those here. And I just learned that those are your friend. They eat. They don't do anything bad to your house. They don't do anything bad to your clothes or to people. And they eat most of the bugs that you don't want in your house. So.
What?
Yeah. Look them up. House centipedes.
House centipedes.
Yeah, they're about this big, and they just have legs all over the place.
I don't think I've ever seen a centipede in real life.
They're your friends. That's all we have for this week. Thank you all so much for joining us. Thanks to our patrons, Arsfel, Lack of Lepers, Ian Anderson, and Evan McDonnell for supporting us at patreon.com/SCP Weekly. Your support helps us keep the lights on. Intro and outro music was Caught You at the Perfect Time by Superintendent McCupcakes. Thanks to Poufy for spending time with us. Thanks, Poufy.
You're welcome. It was really fun. Thank you for having me.
Thanks to our sponsor, The Holy Book Not by Dado. SCP Weekly is distributed by Smooth Cadence Productions. SCP Weekly is not affiliated with the SCP Foundation Wiki, and as such, the opinions presented in this program are our own and do not necessarily reflect those of the Wiki or its staff.
Music is provided by Epidemic Sound.
Content relating to the SCP Foundation, including the SCP Foundation logo, is licensed under Creative Commons Share-alike 3.0, and all concepts originate from the SCP Wiki and its authors. This recording, being derived from this content, is also released under CC by SA 3.0. Until next time, I'm Kelsey.
I'm Cassie.
And I'm Nolan. The K is silent. And this was SCP Weekly.
Damn, feeling lucky. How about most streets? Us two in these streets. Diamonds on my feet. Caught up in these talks. Circling my head top. Should've been more cautious. Now I got what I wanted. Many I've been here before. Made it out of 11 more. Like my frontal cortex. So I can't stop. I want it all. Listen up, I'm calling you. I need you to tell the truth. Remember when you wanted to. Remember that I said was you. Got you at the perfect time. I was watching it then. You know what you wanna do, but I can never be your friend. Got me reading between the lines. Girl, you got me so blind. You know what you wanna do, so I can never be your friend. Matt and the men, don't we? Kinda turn around, eat your greens. When you fight, but you do real clean. Then you come to the bed and you love real dirty. It's everybody sweater drops, you're real keen. Bring it, let me get your juiciest piece. Can't remember when I've had the same please. The shops at the club never had no boundaries. How's it gonna be? You wanna eat these centipedes? Where we gonna go? You're gonna need these calories. Giving me a treat to refill these batteries. Then you only them on your knees, there's no way to dream. Ooh, it's sneaking up on you. There's nothing you can do. There's things about the boo.